I look at the Redmi 12 and all I see is a familiarity, not just in design, but also every specification except for one or two. It is a replica of the Tecno Spark 10 Pro, spec for spec in almost every way. I actually think Xiaomi saw the Spark 10 Pro and felt the heat of what Tecno was cooking, then chose to respond, offering the same thing but with an ultra-wide camera and MIUI, which might just be enough to make you choose it over the Spark 10 Pro or Infinix Hot 30. But is it actually worth considering when it comes to value for money? The Redmi 12 is just another one of Xiaomi's many devices they release every year, and I dare say a relevant one. Now, it is a device that falls just between Redmi Note 12 and 12C and packs quite the specifications. It is also priced quite well. Now, the base version costs just about 102,000 naira for the 4GB version with 128 gigs of storage. Mine is the 8GB version, same storage capacity, but costs about 7,000 naira more. Now, if you want more memory, you can get the 256GB version, which costs a little bit more too. Now, there is no 6GB version, just like the Spark 10 Pro. I've had this one with me probably over a month. Just been so busy, I haven't really gotten to review it, but here we are. Now, the design, while similar to the Spark 10 Pro or the Infinix Hot 30, I'd like to attribute it more to the Redmi Note 12 Turbo. I like that it's a clean design, not too much going on around the back. Arguably the better looking of all the Redmi series this year, except the Note 12 Turbo, of course. That one looks awesome. I don't like that the back is glossy though. It's a smudge magnet. Now, it has glass on the rear, though not Gorilla Glass. Thankfully, it comes with a protective casing in the box alongside its 18-watt charger, pretty much the only accessories that accompany Redmi devices, so you get the typical unboxing experience. The Redmi 12 is flat on its frame, and if you are patient enough, you can have it stand without support. Build quality is solid, and I'd say it's nice on the hands. It employs a side-mounted fingerprint scanner which does the job of unlocking the device. You'll find its headphone jack at the top, where we also have its IR blaster. I think in a previous Redmi device review, I questioned the usefulness of the IR blaster, if Redmi users are dependent on it or would notice if it's gone. Well, I found it handy recently in controlling my air conditioner, which had no remote control. Safe to say the Redmi 12 has successfully served that purpose thanks to the IR blaster. While you get options up to 256 gigs in storage, Redmi still has the SD card slot here, although a hybrid one, such that you either use one SIM card and an SD card, or two SIM cards and no SD card. This could be a disadvantage for some, and it's something the Spark 10 Pro and the Infinix Hot 30 actually has dual nano SIM cards with an SD card. The Redmi 12 comes with a 90Hz Full HD display. It is LCD and it looks good. By default, it automatically switches between 60 and 90Hz for a more balanced experience depending on the system requirements. You can choose custom to set it to 90Hz always. In my experience, I found it smoother when I chose 90Hz because the default didn't always switch when needed. Don't ask me how I can tell the difference between 90Hz and 60Hz. When you are used to high refresh rate displays, you definitely know. Now, the Redmi 12 comes with Android 13 and MIUI 14, and since I've had it, I've received 2 security updates, most recent being for June. The good thing about the software on here is that while it competes with Tecno and Infinix on value, it offers a different software approach which some might prefer, being that MIUI is one of the most preferred Android skins out there. It is of course not without its bloatware apps and ads, annoying ones too, but nothing you can get rid of with a few tweaks. I've had no concerns with the stability of MIUI 14 and Android 13 so far on the Redmi 12. For those that use it, there is second space on the Redmi 12, that is if you're buying the 8GB version. You likely won't find that on the 4GB version. The Redmi 12 is powered by the MediaTek Helio G88, same processor on the likes of Tecno Spark 10 Pro and Infinix Hot 30. I've mentioned those devices a couple of times, and that's mostly because of the similarities between them. Now, it is a solid processor for this price point and is well capable of handling most of what you throw at the Redmi 12, as long as you don't expect mid-range to flagship performance, definitely not from a budget device such as this. It can run some high graphics games at decent performance with no issues. Definitely not at high graphics, medium at best, depending on the games. There are no abnormal heatings or lags during extended sessions of gameplay if you stick to the recommended settings, of course. Now, the battery life here is solid and it will last you well over a day on a full charge, as you would expect of a 5000 mAh battery. No worries there. It doesn't support more than 18 watts fast charging though. Now, one area where the Redmi 12 stands out from its direct competition is the extra cameras. Unlike with the Spark 10 Pro, the two extra cameras are actually useful. That is a 15 megapixel main camera alongside an 8 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel macro. It has an 8 megapixel selfie camera. Its rear cameras take good photos, fairly good for a device at this price point. It gets enough detail and also good with dynamic range. Images look natural, colors well represented. Even with the subject up close, you get good background blur. The selfie camera is where you might find some dissatisfaction and inconsistencies. You can get fairly decent shots, but sometimes it's not so great. Hard to complain for this price point, but I've seen better with the Spark 10 Pro and Samsung's A14. It can record videos at 1080p 30 frames per second from both the selfie and the rear cameras. The video quality is okay in suitable lighting conditions as long as you manage your expectations. Marlo, what's your favorite phone so far in 2023?
Phantom V4.
Okay, so this is the Redmi 12. Currently testing its selfie camera. I think it's 8 or 16 megapixels, or 13. One of the three. Currently shooting at 1080p 30 frames per second. That is the maximum we can do from both the selfie and the rear cameras. What do you think about this video quality coming from the Redmi 12? Let me know in the comments. And also the microphone, how is it picking my voice? I'm outside. It's a bit noisy. There's wind and a couple of other noises. Can you hear me clearly? In my review of Tecno Spark 10 Pro, I mentioned that it is almost impossible to find any device that matches it in specs and value. I guess Redmi took it personal and decided to match it with the Redmi 12. Now, with that said, the Redmi 12 is a device I can recommend. Is it better than the Spark 10 Pro? Not really. I'd say they are well matched. You just need to choose between iOS and MIUI. And then note that the Spark 10 Pro gets better selfies and also offers proper dual nano SIM card slots. The Redmi 12, however, offers an ultra-wide camera, also potential software updates, and an IR blaster if that's something you use. It is great to see such competition at the budget level. Nice to have solid options. That's all from me. You tell me, between the Redmi 12 and Spark 10 Pro and say maybe Infinix Hot 30 and probably Samsung Galaxy A14, these are devices around similar price points with mostly similar specifications. Which one would you choose? Let's know in the comments. Peace.